Hey everybody, and welcome to the Johansson show. It's Kurt, and today got another guest. As I'm venturing into hashtag Scandinagraps, having a look in the Scandinavian professional wrestling scene, I've got another one half of one of the most talked about tag teams from what I've seen in my looking into it in Randerspagne. I've got Adonis. Adonis, thank you for coming on.
Hello guys, hello Kurt, good to see you.
Nah, you too, man. Again, thank you for coming on the show. I said before recording, it was you somebody that kept getting suggested, and I was like, I need to up my Instagram page so I can start reaching out to these people. So good to make sure we could get some dates sorted, especially. I think the way I'm going to be releasing these is 2 days prior. Xander, his interview will release. So I think it'll be a good follow on for everybody to know out there. New favorite tag team? Because I know you've got some exciting things coming up, which we'll get into.
Yeah, definitely. Most exciting for the future. Really looking forward to it, especially with Xander as well.
Yeah, man. So, but just to start it off, like I always ask everybody this when on the show is like, what made you want to do professional wrestling? Like, especially in Scandinavia, everybody's talked about how small the scene was, but still, you was like, still gonna do it.
Well, it's a funny story actually, because obviously um, someone might know this, someone might not, but Xander or Night to Green or um, is my cousin,
Yeah.
Mikkel. And whenever we've been at family reunions or family get-togethers, we found out that we both are watching wrestling. Um, and I was playing the game back in, I don't know when it was. I think it was SmackDown versus Raw 2005.
Yeah.
And I told him about it. And he was like, oh, right, cool. You should watch some of it. I was like, okay, there's actually shows to watch. And he showed me a bit and we started watching it together. And I went all maniac watching WWE. And obviously back then my favorite was Rey Mysterio. And whenever we started watching it, we found out I was 11 years old. He was 14,
Yeah.
and we found out there was a wrestling scene in Denmark as well, called DPW, Danish Pro Wrestling. And the funny thing was that we went to a couple of these shows, and actually I found out that my mother's colleague's boyfriend was one of these wrestlers. So big coincidence right there that in the vicinity there was actually a pro wrestler
Yeah.
um, called Big D, and we went to a couple of shows, and someday my mother had an agreement with her colleague that they like would meet up and come to our house, and I get to talk to this guy, Big D, or David as his real name is, and from there I was just hooked. Me and Mikkel had built a ring around our trampoline back at my place, with like ropes and posts and all of this. And he took me into the trampoline and just started showing me a couple of moves, like nothing um, too complicated, just really, really simple stuff, like
Yeah.
chain wrestling, a couple of holds, and nothing really big. And he told me, if you want to go for it, we have a boot camp called Fake or Break that Danish Pro Wrestling is running, and we signed up for that, and that's where the whole adventure started. Me and Mikkel, we signed up together.
Oh, brilliant. Yep, that's my cat. I could hear her zooming about, and then
Oh, great stuff.
she decided to park off. So yeah, that's Millie. Um, but no, that's great. Like, so was your family like happy for you to be training then? Because I know your cousin had to hide it for a long period of time for his.
Yeah, my parents were always encouraging me. Obviously, my mother back then wasn't that fond of it because it's contact sport, and what if you might get hurt and all this. So she was always encouraging me, but from afar, like from home. And my
Yeah,
father, he would definitely encourage me. He would take me to every show. He would drive me and Mikkel to every show and be there for the show, watching it. And I think for the first 1 or 2 years, he was at every show I was on. He would drive me to all the trainings as well, which is located in our main city where
yeah,
I live, Randers as well.
yeah,
He would drive me to every training, every show, every session, everything, and they were really encouraging it. And fortunately, at the time, Mikkel's parents wasn't,
yeah,
especially his father. He wasn't that fond of it, so he had to hide it from him. But that also resulted in after Fake or Break. when I was 11, he was 14. There was a period of time where he wasn't able to train, so it was a bit weird for me, 11 years old, little boy in a new place like DPW.
Yeah.
Having to like feel comfortable without my base in Mikkel. So I basically started developing how to explain it. I really like that's when I first really felt confident in myself, because I was in a new place and I really got to get along, and I was standing on my own 2 feet for the first time, so to say. And it came about brilliantly. Just kept training and eventually got on shows and all this, which was fun. And every time I talked to Mikkel about it, he was just like, "Oh man, I want to do it. I want to do it." So eventually he hid it. He hid it from his father that he wanted to do it. But he was telling him that he was going to be a referee, just to be involved and just to be near it. And his father caught on to that. And then we put a mask on him and put him in the ring. It's great stuff. But at least now everything is cool, and his father knows the whole story. But it's always been this kind of tension at families get-togethers, if the question was going to be popped from his father or anything, or my father was going to leak some information that he wasn't supposed to. Because he was always of the mentality, if your father asks me, I won't lie to him about it.
Yeah.
But he won't tell him for like just tell him about it. He will
Yeah.
keep information for him, but he won't lie about it. And Mikkel was all about that. He was, all right, that's all good. Just avoid the topic.
So, how old was you when you first made your debut?
So I made my debut, I think, half a year after I started training really started training. So half a year after Fake or Break started, that would be December. I think it was the December show or January show, 2000 and what would that be? 13, I think.
Okay.
Maybe. So I was 11 years old. I started my first debut. I had my first debut. It was at Vild Vinter. It says like it means what we say like a winter show, which is our biggest show actually in Frederikshavn in Denmark. And it was a tag team match with me and a guy called Jack and Michael Finn from Bodyslam as well, and a guy called Miguel. So there's 2 little guys and 2 bigger guys in the tag team match. And we were really green. It was a dark match. So before the show started, we came on, we were like, the trainees would show off what they've learned.
Yeah.
We've been sitting weeks before, just scripted the whole thing, just going through step by step. And we were like all hyped for this.
So you mentioned like you started standing on your own 2 feet, but then eventually you start teaming with your cousin. How was it like readjusting back to that? Did you fall in quite nicely? Was tag teaming something you always wanted to do?
Me and Mikkel had the goal from when we started wrestling that before 2018 we wanted to be tag champions together in DPW, and that came along really good. As of me and Mikkel being cousins and been spending a lot of time together throughout our whole lives, timing and just generally feel of each other has been like it's really, we really click good together. And it's I think it just comes natural to us to tag because we're in sync. It's really hard to explain, but whenever we're in the ring together, I always know where he is, and I always know the timing of what he's doing, and I can really get into his mindset. And it's really weird. I think it's just because we've been spending that much time together as young and as kids, and then like keeping that contact throughout, well, till now. Me and Mikkel have been working together as well, like being co-workers, just actually working Burger King as well. Like and you can really feel whenever we work together, rather it being like it being in the ring or as colleagues. We also work at a bar together now called Barry's. We always have that vibe and that flow to our work, and it really comes along great because it's just natural for us.
Yeah, it seems like I'm guessing it's very easy to be mistaken as brothers rather than cousins. Like, 'cause it
Definitely.
seems as if you are just two close-knit brothers doing everything together. You do the day jobs together, and then you'll start pouring champagne all over yourselves and spitting it out and gonna go wrestle on weekends.
Yeah, the thing is like I think we've always seen each other more as brothers rather than cousins because um all the brotherly stuff um Mikkel has been there for me as well. Like first time I met girls, and he's been
Yeah.
everything like that. All the brotherly stuff has been a part of our relationship as well, um, which is I'm really grateful for. Definitely couldn't wish for a better cousin than him.
Brilliant. So I know I introduced you as Adonis, but you've got the like the Ravn character, and that's what you'd started with, especially in Danish Pro Wrestling. Like, how did that come about? Like, why that name?
So Raven is in Danish called Ravn, which is my middle name,
Okay.
and my father's middle name as well, and his uncle's middle name, and that's a name in my family that we're really proud of.
Yeah.
I don't know where this family proudness came from, like what's specific about the name. It's just it's not many people in Denmark that are named Raven,
Yeah.
and especially in my family, it's only a few people that's named Raven.
Yeah.
Mostly men actually. But I just took a kind of prideness to it, especially because I look very much up to my dad. And then I just decided that I wanted that name to wrestle for, and I embraced the whole Raven character as like, of course, the bird,
Yeah.
but also in I didn't think about this as a young, but it came along brilliant whenever I grew up. That Raven is like the messenger of Odin and Thor,
Yeah.
and to be the messenger from the gods is a great honor, but also a unique courage for it. And you need
Yeah.
to, like, I wanted to build that underdog, classic underdog character around that name, and which is what my character in DPW was built upon.
Yeah.
So also the fact being I was 11 years old when I started and all this, which is unusual. Like, um, I actually wrote an email when I started and when I applied for Figure Break saying, "Would you be okay having me on the camp?" And they were like, "Sure, if you're up for it, but you're not gonna get treated indefinitely." And I just I just basically took it, I think. And they our main trainer, Chaos from DPW, and who's been my mentor for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
He's been the one training me since I was a kid. He's never been like putting the fingers in between. He's never always been hard on, but that's also what shaped me. And I
Yeah.
think that is like that kind of courage and like I don't know that kind of character that he like all the toughness that he put into me gave me character as a person, but also as a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I wanted that to be a part of the character as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Um, the
What
Raven
was your dad?
character.
What was your dad's reaction then when you told him that was the name you wanted to use?
Definitely, he was so proud. Like he's always been proud, and sometimes when he's been in the crowd, and especially when I won my first title, I've few times I've seen my dad in tears, but I just seeing him in the crowd and the announcer calling my name for the first title that I won, seeing him like a teardrop from his eye, that was just pure prideness from his side. I don't know. That's like having a fist to your gut. You just felt like that really hit you, like
Yeah.
me, and to make him that proud, using the family name and also just in general making the person I look up to the most in this world proud is just like there's nothing words can't describe it.
Yeah. How old were you at this point, and what was that first title?
Uh, Actually, I think the first title was a tag team championship with Demolition Davis.
Yeah.
and I think I was around, I'm not really sure actually. I think I was around 15, 16 years old. Maybe 16 rather than 15.
Yeah.
That first title was like, that was meaningful. And actually, to correct what I just said before, he wasn't a part of the crowd that first time. I came home to him with the title and he was super proud.
Yeah.
But the first time when I think it was when I won the light heavyweight championship, when I came back first time when I had to take off the mask, I think
Yeah.
it was. And when I came back from to DPW from taking off the mask and the whole Ravn character being dead, that was when I saw him the first time I won a singles title.
Yeah.
I saw him that proud. It was mental.
Was that your match with Pete Phoenix?
Yeah, that was with Pete Phoenix. So it was actually like I think it was like kind of a cash-in or something like that. Yeah, it's not really a cash-in like a Money in the Bank cash-in, but it was a short thing. I can't really remember how it was, but I just remember the whole reaction from people because telling you that me and Mikko were working at a bar called Barry's. The whole Barry's crew were there. My father was there. My sister was there, and the Barry's crew there is really tight, and we're really like they're all really good mates.
Yeah.
And when I stood in the crowd, and I obviously knew I had some knee protectors under my shorts and under my pants, and ready to go in the ring. And then he announces that it's not me you're going to be fighting; it's going to be Ravn. And I just jump into the ring. Just people went nuts. It was sick. Like the whole crowd just standing up roaring, couldn't understand that I was back. I was obviously there in the crowd, and people were working on me doing the show.
Yeah.
But was a part of the main event, jumping in at the last second and taking the title from him was just, I think, blew people's mind at that moment.
Yeah.
And the whole element of surprise, because not even my father or my sister knew. That element of surprise, I think, was what got the reaction out of my father that he had. And I just, at the moment, I think he was just overwhelmed a bit. So that's just sick.
It sounds like amazing, like wholesome moment as well. Like it's deep down, that's what you probably wished as a kid, where you jump in the guardrail, everybody's going crazy, you're walking away with the title. Like they're the sort of moments I can imagine you got into professional wrestling for, and it's cool that you've managed to have one. And was that last year?
Yeah, I think that was last year. I'm really bad at keeping track of
COVID.
Huh?
It all seems so long ago because of COVID.
Definitely. I'm like, also, I'm really bad at keeping tracks of my dates and all the matches and all this. So whenever people ask me, I'm just like, I don't know. It happened. It was around this time, I think. But yeah, I think it was about a year and a half ago, maybe. The reason I had to drop the mask was mainly because of personal priorities, but also because I was supposed to go for military service here in Denmark, which is a 4-month recruiting where you actually don't have any spare time really. You have some weekends as well, but it's really hard to fit it all together.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, I won the title and all this. Yeah, and as you said, it's really the moments that you live for, not live for, well, that you work for, and you dream of. Obviously, the whole wrestling thing, like just being on the road wrestling, is a major dream come true from when I was a kid. But like having those, like you picture it in your mind, all these like movie moments, or like finally the superhero beats the bad guy or gets the girl or whatever. That's the moments where people in cinemas just goes breathless. And if you could get that reaction from people when you're wrestling, it's amazing. And I have never had any moment like take my breath away as much as the crowd as that moment. That might be, well, when I had to take off the mask for the first time was also a very emotional moment. But just the fact that I had the reaction from the crowd that I had that night was like it's stamped in my mind. Really, yeah, can't describe it.
So obviously that came after your 2 title reigns, because in total 3-time DPW Tag Team Champion. So when you eventually won those titles with Mikkel, with Nitro Green, what was those like? That the fact that, again, boyhood dreams, you both finally did it.
I remember when me and Mikkel won, when me and Nitro Green won the tag team championships for the first time. It was against yes, it was against Schenkenberg and Nikita.
Yeah.
Which is also two guys from Germany that we've been working a lot with, and back in the locker room getting on with, are really, really good, super nice guys, super awesome professional workers as well. We ended going over and winning the tag team titles, and I remember when we were handing the titles, I saw Mikkel sitting there on his knees in the ring, and I whipped around when I got the title in my hand. I, like, of course, yelled to the crowd and all this, but I sat down with him, and we went head to head, and he just whispered to me, "We fucking did it." And from that moment, I just felt like, again, shot to the gut, just breathless. And, I looked into his eyes and he looked into mine, and just a bit of a tear coming out, just a wee one. And whenever we went backstage, we were just like our mentors, of course, Big D, David, which is the first guy that started training me, and Chaos as well. Like, big hugs and locker room applause and all this. It's been coming for such a long time, and as a team, we've been working through so many years for that moment. Yeah. And for that to finally come true was also just a spectacular moment, and definitely a moment that in me and Mikkel's relationship will be printed as one of the biggest ones, because it was a boyhood dream come true.
Yeah. So I know, again, like with these, I love listening to different stories of different wrestling scenes. And I know you've been in, am I right in thinking Sweden, Finland?
I'm sorry, you just cut out for a moment.
Oh, yeah, you frozen. There we go. What was the last thing you heard?
That I've been in Sweden, and
oh yeah. So, am I right in thinking you've been in Sweden, Finland, and Germany?
Yeah, Sweden, Finland, Germany, and Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. What was it like when you first got your overseas booking then? And which one came first?
So the first overseas booking was Finland, and it was for a show called Gods of the North. The reason I went for that show was actually because Chaos told us there was going to be the show, and people who were willing to go there, I think we were going to pay our own flight tickets, and we were going to get a place to stay and all this. But the real reason why we went there was because a WWE talent scout called Robbie Brookside was going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going to run a seminar as well. And of course, young me, a dream of becoming a pro wrestler and all that, I was not hesitating. I just put down my money. I said, take my money. I'm going on a flight to Finland. And at the time, FCF, I think it was called, was run by Starbuck. And Chaos and Starbuck have been wrestling through so many years and been working together for so many years, and they have really good contacts. So I think I don't know if I was accepted or anything, but I got to go on the trip, even though I was 16 at the time. So went to Finland and had my first show wrestling with 3 other masked guys. I think guy was called one of the guys was called Perseus, I think, a masked guy from Finland, and Dr. No and Eccentrico. First time overseas working with these guys. Never even met them before, but we worked. I felt was a pretty good match, and the day after we went for the seminar with Robbie Brookside, which is an amazing person, really. Like, such a calm person.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you this person has something to do with the big guys, but he was just so down to earth, and I felt like I was just, that seminar I learned so much, but with him telling me not very much, like whatever he said, like just had like this big of an impact, because you knew this guy really knows what he's talking about. And of course we wrote through the seminar and all this, and I had to work a match the evening where he was, so the first show he was watching from the balcony, and the second show I think he was booking, so he was putting together people for like, he was booking the show. And I was put together with a couple of guys, and the next match didn't run as well as I thought it would. Panic mistakes, which was a bit embarrassing, so to say. But doing the seminar, talking to Robbie Brookside, and just getting to learn from this guy that knows like that much about the business and all this, was just an honor as well.
Yeah.
But also, he was the guy that made me really think about convincing other people when I'm wrestling. Like, he was talking about this, which is called catch as catch can. Whenever you wrestle, and whenever you chain wrestle, as it's called, he called this catch as catch can. Like, you really have to mean it. And like, what would you do in a real life situation if you were going to take someone's head? Were you gonna elegantly go for it, or we're just gonna take it?
Yeah.
Or and if you're gonna get beat up in a corner, are you just gonna take the shots? Are you gonna cover your head? Like all these small things. But yeah, it was, for a first overseas experience, that was just mental. And there's a bit of a funny story to it actually as well. I think it was last night they went partying a bit, and of course I was too young for that. But I lost my wallet. I was looking around for the home venue for it, and we were looking up at the balcony, and Robbie Brookside was sitting there with a guy I think called Robert Holstrom, I think.
Okay.
Maybe FCF booker at the time, and he was sitting with a couple of other guys. And Big D told him that we were looking for my wallet, and he was in the middle of a shot. He just sat down his shot. He was like, "Where is it at? Where have you been looking? Let's go to the locker room." And he started. This guy, a WWE talent scout, started looking for my wallet with me. Just like that. That says something about him, just being down to earth and really just a nice person. So, ending looking through my stuff, he takes my leather jacket. And I always keep my wallet in a pocket in the leather jacket. Unfortunately, fortunately at the time, he looks through my jacket, and he feels at the sleeves. And at some point, I may have turned my jacket upside down so the wallet falls into the sleeve, but I haven't been looking in the sleeve, because why? So he feels through my jacket, and he says, "If it's the wallet, you're going to be running laps tomorrow." And he finds it in my leather jacket in the sleeve. And we were just talking a bit, joking a bit around after that episode. It's just really, and I was talking to him some time before that, and just asking, what can I do to make it? What do you want me to do? He just said, keep working, and he gave me an email. He said, keep sending me pictures, keep sending me photos and videos of, and eventually one day I won't always have time to write back, but if you're gonna keep going this way, I think you have a good shot at going far. So he said, keep sending, and unfortunately, stuff happened in my life that I didn't keep sending photos and videos.
Yeah,
that's another story. But yeah, great overseas first experience. Funny little stories there. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, just the fact that your wallet's in your sleeve. Got Robbie Brookside looking for it, like one of the greatest to lace them up here in the UK, and he's just walking around helping you. That's priceless.
I had that man looking for my wallet, which was in my jacket.
What was it like? So I know, like, we'll go back to like Germany and Sweden shortly. Like, am I right in thinking you had like an elimination match shortly after that with Chris Masters?
Yeah, I did. We were doing a Masters tour. here in Denmark, and we ended up at Samsø, which is a little island here in Denmark, just outside of Jutland, where I ended up in an elimination tag team match with Chris Master. Yes.
How was that experience again? You've just come from your overseas tour, getting to learn from Robbie Brookside. Now you're working with Chris Masters.
Really crazy experience as well. Like, of course, one of the idols of wrestling at my time.
Yeah.
I have a video, a DVD here at home, Unforgiven 2005, with his feud with HBK.
Yeah.
And just that promo video from Unforgiven 2005 of HBK and Chris Masters has an all inspiration to me, and just the whole feud in general has been big inspiration. So seeing this guy in real life and being in the ring with him was such a privilege and such an honor. I didn't have very much to do with him wrestling wise because we were on the same team, but just the fact that being in the ring with him was just, just another dream come true.
What was your experiences in Sweden and Germany like then?
So Sweden had been coming for a bit of time. Obviously, a lot of my friends from wrestling, FVN and Nitro Green, Mikkel, had been wrestling in Sweden for a bit of time because they were older than me. Me being younger, I was a really skinny kid. I'm still skinny. So it took some time convincing the Swedes to book me on a show, but I started in SVS, Svensk Wrestling Syd, which is called. And I had my first experience there. I can't remember the first match. Actually, I think it was, well, can't really remember. I think it was in a battle royal, actually, just something really short. But I eventually got a couple of bookings in SVS as well. Super nice guys. We've always been working close with the Swedes. Been working with Harley Rage for a long time as well. Know him like through years as well. Working with Steinfold as well, and great guys, all of them. So we've been knowing each other for a long time, and you can really feel that like mutual respect between people when you have been in the game in a long time. And the fact that the Scandinavian scene isn't that big, the promotions helping each other was really what kept it going and really kept things fresh as well.
Yeah.
So it was nice to finally discover the Swedish as Ravn.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So I want to move on to like Bodyslam then, and here comes Adonis, and you get to see Mikkel in like a whole different light as he goes from Nitro Green to Xander, and you've got the Randerspagne tag team. Like, how did you two go into Bodyslam come about? And how did the like the tag team name, and how did you both come up with this completely different, unique characters?
Yeah, right. So the thing was, I think at the time I'm actually having a bit of a break from wrestling because I was getting a bit choked up in doing the same thing again and again and just running out of ideas and creativity. I was having a break from wrestling, and we were working at Burger King one night, and he told me about this idea that Bodyslam had, because he's been working Bodyslam for a bit of time as what was
it Raya Blanco?
Raya Blanco, yeah, there you go. So he'd been working as a Raya Blanco for a bit of time, and he'd been talking to the Bodyslam promoters about this new idea that they had. They wanted to make a tag team which was based on our city, and our city in Denmark is basically known for drinking these ciders called mokai and being just what can you describe it as, just social losers, really, like driving on scooters, I think it's called as well, wearing these hats and wearing Nike shocks as and joggers like to everything that they go to, and really being like losers. Like, of course, like, it is not any reality here in the city. I say that as a proud man from Randers. But in the whole like country of Denmark, my city is used as a joke.
Yeah.
I was once told the closest description of Randers is, I think, is it called Birmingham in England, that people like, they say that's a bit of a like they make fun of. Yeah.
I don't think they make. I think it depends where you come from, but yeah, a lot of people that I know probably wouldn't want. I know people that live in Birmingham, like around Wolverhampton in the Midlands, so I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but yeah, I wouldn't. Personally.
There you go. There you go. That's like it's not like known as a city of violence, my city at all. I don't know if Birmingham is, or but it's just known as a joke. And they wanted to make this tag team based on the joke of Randers. And like he talked to me about it, and he actually wanted to ask FVN, but FVN wasn't really sure about it. He wasn't into wrestling that much at that time as well. But so he talked to me about it. I said, "Sure, I'll do it. I could do it." And he was like, "You sure?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I thought at that moment that would be we were just joking around, coming up with ideas that night, and just I just felt the creativity like flowing again.
Yeah.
And like when you talk to a partner about all the ideas, and you just throw stuff on the table, and you just bring on like brilliant idea after brilliant idea, and you're just laughing about it, and like really just going all out. I just felt that I felt butterflies in my stomach thinking about that I could tag with Mikkel again and have this much fun.
Yeah.
And also throughout my whole career in DPW, I have been a serious character. And finally, just maybe making a character that was more comedy based,
Yeah.
and just taking the piss on stuff for a bit, would be just a whole new breath to what I saw wrestling as, and be a whole new work for me. And so we eventually figure it all out, and we've been talking about what characters these was, and of course we were bringing the ciders Mokai, and we were just throwing ideas like, okay, we're gonna go to the ring, we're gonna spray this on top of you, and we're just gonna like be party douchebags. And we were actually booked as heels for starters in Copenhagen, I think was our first show. And we were booked as heels, but from the moment that we stepped on the scene, just being all hyped with like the party vibe, and like shaking the mokais over people and showering Mikkel in it, and people just loved it.
Yeah, when I was speaking to Christian, he was on about like they came in as heels, but people weren't buying it as heels. I was like, well, of course not. Like somebody comes out, they're drinking, they're partying. I want to like them. I want to party with them. Um, is the cider actually nice?
I'm sorry.
Is the cider? Is it nice? Like, do you enjoy?
Well, it's sweet cider. I like it. I'm more of a beer guy, but whenever you have a couple of beers and it's a bit too much,
Yeah.
it's actually really good. Like you got something sweet and you down one or two of them because it's really easy. And whenever you get the taste for it, it's just going down quickly. They're really expensive though.
I'm gonna make it like my task to come over to Bodyslam
Yeah.
when travel restrictions, and I'll make sure it's a front row ticket. And on your entrance, you are pouring it down me. That's what I'll drink it. You can both.
We could definitely figure that
out. Just any excuse to go drink in a different city from me, I guess. But so did this? Do you think this is what kind of lit the like spark again for you then? Because it's something so fresh. You're facing some different people. Yeah, you're facing some of the same people as well, but because there's this different character and different element, and you're having that fun vibe, did that you get to work the matches differently? Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely agree on that. Having a whole new character to build, and just it being that different from the Ravn character is just so much more interesting right now. And I got other priorities than wrestling because
Yeah.
I got choked up, I think, in the Ravn character, and in general, the like just being a bit out of ideas, I think.
Yeah.
So also like, of course, being one of the main guys in DPW at the time, also came with a bunch of responsibility. And when and when the promotion had a hard time, you also had to have more responsibility, and you always working, like, of course everybody are working their asses off for any promotion that they're working for, like, late nights driving the ring and packing the ring and setting it up and putting it down and driving it back to the city and all this. But just, I think, getting choked up in the character of Ravn at the time, and all these responsibilities coming on top of it, made it seem for me, when I was going for, like, if there was a month to a DPW show at the time, I felt it was more of a burden rather than enjoyable. That has changed. I definitely feel like if I work a DPW show right now, I could relax more about it. But I just felt like it felt like a great burden. And then I realized at the time I would rather step back for a while and come back again, rather than have it choke me up completely. Right now, I'm in a point in my life where I prioritize the things that I want. I'm not studying. I've finished my gymnasium education, and I've been working for 2 years. Been on a trip to the military, been on a trip to Japan, and right now I have no plans for the future right now, and just working and doing things that I want to do. So what I'm working on right now is prioritizing what I feel good doing and what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So rather that, right now, the DPW shows are in a bit of a work in progress in my mind. I don't know how to describe it. I have to figure out if I want to put in the time, because I don't want to be a liability for anyone and saying, like, yes, of course I can go to a show and all this, but not feel confident that I could bring it 100%. I don't want to let anyone down because they've been giving me so much. So I would rather figure it out first and then go full out if I choose to go work on more DPW shows, rather than being half-assed and just going back to DPW shows being a bit of a burden, because there's so many people in that promotion that I respect, especially the owner, Chaos, and he's been my mentor for so long that I respect him and love that guy to bits. So I would rather, if I took up a spot and were being kind of a half-ass and not delivering the right product that I would be proud of, I would rather give that spot to someone else. Having the fire and what's it called, just having the pure fire and for being there, rather than if I felt it was a burden.
Yeah, but would you say at this point in time then, although you feel that way with DPW, your drive and your desire and your determination with Bodyslam is very different?
Like, the thing is that, being able to work in Bodyslam brings it back to where I started. I think, I'm able to go on shows with Mikkel, and we drive together, and we, all, of course, us two being together all the time is like, or whenever we are together, it's just a good time. And Mikkel right now in DPW has a big responsibility on him as well, so he don't have a lot of time. So whenever we go work a Bodyslam show, we have much more time for each other, and we're just more relaxed because some of that responsibility that we used to have on us in DPW is not on us. So, like, we can actually lay back and just enjoy wrestling.
Just fun again.
Yeah, it's just fun. There we go. Like, it's back to just us two tag teaming around, just having a good time, really.
I've
that's
seen
really what drives me right now, doing the Bodyslam shows.
Oh, brilliant! I've seen the the body of work you've had there, where if it was Carlos Zamora or you're teaming with the Randerspagne against like Emeritus and Peter Alessandro. I know you beat them in the final. You've mentioned Harley Rage and Steinboyle previously. So you're going to be moving on to the tag team championships. You've got that coming up. How do you feel about that upcoming match and that upcoming opportunity to be facing Tank and Michael Finn?
Super exciting. Tank, of course, is a veteran here in Denmark and a veteran in general. And facing off Michael Finn, who I have been working with since I was a kid, is just and combining that with Randerspagne and Mikkel being in the picture as well, is I can't think of a better title match right now. The teams put together and all the tag teams out there, I couldn't figure out a better tag team title match right now, because it's people that I've known throughout my whole wrestling career, if you can call it wrestling career, and for a very long time in my life, and we get along together and we know how to work, and that's really what gets me exciting. That I think we can pull off one hell of a match.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and looking forward to seeing like what's next with your tag team. So to wrap things up in terms of what's next, like you mentioned, like WWE was like what you'd seen, you'd learned so much from Robert Brookside from the UK. NXT UK is now a thing, and they look at teams and people all over Europe. What are your goals in wrestling? Like, is NXT UK something you'd want to be a part of? Is finding wrestling as a full-time job something that you're striving towards, or are you doing it more as a fun and hobby?
So again, like bringing it a bit back to what I'm doing right now in my life is just trying to figure out what I want to prioritize. And wrestling right now, especially in Bodyslam and wrestling with Mikkel, is a great pleasure, and I really want to prioritize that. And I was talking to Mikkel before Corona hit, really hit, like lockdown stuff. And we were talking, and he told me, all right, like he's got stuff going for him in Europe right now. He's got a lot of bookings and all this, but he told me, how would I feel if we tried to go a bit on like overseas and go on this scene of Europe, like a Europe scene, try that as a team. And he told me, because he knows that he's got talent and he's been working his ass off for it for a long time. He's been in the business, but he think us two as a team, because of the timing and because of the story that we have, is much more valuable rather than individuals.
Yeah.
And that thought got me, like, that excited me a lot. Like, talking about stuff and all that, heart rate going up, and you got butterflies in your stomach talking about future plans and all this. And we agreed that we might give it a year, like just give it a year, start like, promoting us a bit on the Europe scene. Of course, Corona hit and all this, but of course things have changed a bit since the start of Corona, and like time passes, and I've got a bit of a priority in doing CrossFit right now, which is really going good for me, and I'm starting competing as well. Okay. So that's a whole nother thing and a whole new hobby to be excited about. But right now I just enjoy really much wrestling with Mikkel, and for now I think I'm just waiting and seeing what opportunities comes on the table, really. If someday that leads to maybe WWE or just in general the UK scene looking our way, I would rather I would make the decision at the time. Because I can't say right now or especially with all this Corona stuff going on and all this, what my priority is going to be at that time. Right now I'm just focusing on being happy and doing what I like to do at the time I'm in. And but I can say right now, I love being a tag team with Mikkel, and I enjoy it very much, and we have shitloads of fun, and we bring on some good matches, which is like the best of it. And if one day WWE would look our way, I can't deny that of course that would be a boyhood dream come true as well, but it will depend on my priorities at the time, and if it's 1 or 2 years from now where I'm at there, and all this. But definitely in the back of our mind that maybe if we team up and we go on the Europe scene, we could go. Maybe we could go far, maybe not, but it's definitely a possibility that I would put in some time, and really prioritizing us two as a tag team and hopefully going far.
Good. Now I really hope you do. Like I said, the gimmick, it's exciting, it's fun. I know, especially here in the UK, we have a lot of like over 18s, like wrestling scenes and vibes, and it'd suit there. Like I'm sure it would be a case of like what I said when I'm coming to Denmark. Like people will probably be happy you pouring champagne, like in their mouth and stuff like that. Like I think it would work. So hopefully, like post COVID, that happened. But it's good to see that you're in such a good mindset and where you're content in like prioritizing yourself. I know some people it's easy to get caught up in things and then just doesn't become fun. I had something similar in terms of podcasting and stuff like that, and then I'd stopped one venture, like right, I'm having a rest, and then I rebranded and did my new venture solo and started to find the fun again. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, if you're doing it and you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it? Like, life's too short to do something you're not enjoying.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed having you on. Like it's been great learning more about yourself. That Robbie Brooks had. I'm gonna probably have to clip that bit out personally and start posting that as a video just to advertise this chat because I thought that story was amazing.
Oh, good man.
But where can people find your social medias? I know you're not on Twitter, but on Instagram, Facebook, where can people find you?
So me and Xander are on Facebook as Randerspagne. Maybe you could spell it out somewhere on the podcast or in a comment or anything.
It'll be in the note, like in the description. It'll be in there for you.
All
Don't
good,
worry.
all good, awesome. We are working on a Randerspagne Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have a Ravn, an old Ravn Facebook page, which is there's not really much posting going on it right now, but maybe in the future if it goes live again, it's just Ravn the High Flying Hope. It's me with I think a badass denim jacket on and a title in my hand and a pair of sunglasses on, so people would know about that. Otherwise, I got personal accounts, but nothing really exciting about wrestling going on there. If people want to follow that, Tribal Ravn. It was mostly for my trip in Japan, but yeah.
Oh, brilliant. But again, thank you for coming on. Good luck in the tag team match against Tank and Michael Finn. If or when you get those belts, I can imagine the celebration, like post match, will be good. I'd be disappointed if there isn't the champagne there or the cider. But again, thank you for coming on. Like all the best in the future. And again, once things go back to normality, especially if you do start working around Europe, we'll definitely have to get you back on and start like tracking all these what you guys are doing really, and maybe have you both on at the same time.
Definitely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. So everybody, make sure you do go follow Adonis on the social medias and Randerspagne. Again, description, you can find the spelling there. And yeah, if you've enjoyed that, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. And if you want to learn more about Scandigraps, have a look in the playlist on YouTube with the Scandigraps, where it'll be all my different interviews with everybody from the Scandinavian wrestling scene. I've been Johansson. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.